Welcome back to
The Giselle and Alex
Giselle. You're
podcast.
recording on the No Name Podcast platform.
Well, hopefully you can switch it over.
Hey, so I just realized that my wife, this is the Giselle and Alex podcast. Don't get confused. We are using Riverside, and I do another podcast called the No Name Podcast, and she's
So
recording
really,
there.
it's your fault because you have so many podcasts, and I'm not the one who usually logs in.
Man, oh man. I
Can
looked
you
up.
switch it?
It's too late.
But I'm saying, like, is it easily later to like
We'll
switch?
figure it out.
Oh,
We will figure it out. If it is meant to be,
it'll be.
it's up to me. If it's up to me,
Or I guess I'll be a special guest speaker on the No Name podcast, talking about everything and nothing all at the same time. You know, I think you just tried to do this to plug in the No Name podcast.
No, not at all.
This is a dirty plug-in.
Okay.
Shameless.
Shameless. Look,
plug-in.
I do a lot of projects because podcasting is something that I love to do. It fills me up, and I could throw in some other plugs, but I won't do that for the sake of time. I think we should talk about today on the Giselle and Alex podcast. I had a person reach out to me on the beach. Well, not reach out, we were talking. And this person, I had told them that I had lost a son. And they looked at me and said, "You look too happy for losing a child recently." And I giggled for a second.
Alarms.
And in my head, I didn't say this out loud, but in my head, I was curious of what does it mean? Like, what is it supposed to look like to have lost a child? And then I came to this thought of majority of society or people, this connotation of death, you must be sad and depressed
And miserable
all the time. And if you're not, it's disrespectful or
something's wrong with you, or you don't care, or you're heartless.
So I wanted to dive into that today about this idea or notion that death means that you just have to be sad and depressed all the time.
Yeah, there's definitely not a time for it, time limit, time anything. Like today, was it today? Oh yeah, it was today. I was swimming in the pool. I got out. I'm sitting on the sun chair. And I don't even know what I was thinking about that moment, but I was not thinking about Liam. But something like triggered this thought. And I went down this whole memory lane. And I'm sitting there about to cry. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what I was thinking about. And I didn't really feel like crying then. So I kind of suppressed it. I was like, I don't want to cry right now. But I just had this like sadness overcome me because of this random like thing that triggered this whole thought process and memory of Liam at the time. And I personally don't live in that part of my brain all the time. So like this whole thing of like being sad all the time is like we have 4 other kids. So our minds are pretty busy with a lot of other things throughout the day. And we're still young. We still have to work and make money and do all these things like, or like for me, I guess it's like my mind is preoccupied with so many other things. Like and we have said this in the past, like sometimes a week or 2 will go by that we realize we haven't even created the space to sit with those feelings that are still inside us. Like at that time, I was just like, I have other things to do. I can't really like sink into this moment right now. Like now's not the time. And then there's days where I'll spend an hour straight crying and I can't stop. So for me, the whole like, you don't look like a son has died is also from my own understanding that yes, it's painful and it hurts. And I wish he was still here with us. And I also understand that death in the physical sense is not the end of life. And his energy still continues to live on. And he is still with us here in a different shape and form than he was before. And I know that we will be reunited many other times, and we will see him and feel him and be part of that again, like that being that family and being together. I also witnessed my grandma losing her son a few years ago. Actually, I think it was 2020. Yeah. And, she like locked herself up in her house for how many years and didn't want to do a lot of anything. And I'm not saying that's wrong, different era, different generation, different way of processing and doing things. But once again, as a 35-year-old mother of four young children, that is not, I don't see that as an option for me. Like, once again, I'm not judging people who have done that. Like, everybody do what you got to do what you can, do what you're capable of doing. But my thought process is, I still have, I look at all the things I still have to live for, and I have a lot to live for. So I choose to look at all the positives, all the things that I still do have, instead of, yes, my son, he means a lot and I lost him, but that is just a small portion of my life. And if I decide to destroy the rest of my life and everything else in it because of this one moment in time that happened, like, okay, what's going to happen to my other four kids and my husband and my life and my marriage and everything else? It's like, I still want that. I'm still here. Like, I'm not dead. So I have found ways of learning how to navigate that space. And when I feel like I don't want to be around people and I don't want to talk and I don't feel like socializing, I don't. And that is like, but I'm not gonna walk around looking miserable. And plus, for me, being vulnerable like that in front of people is just not, it's not my thing. So when I'm feeling those sad moments, times, days, I don't go out. Like, I stay in my house. I'm like, "Oh, I don't feel like going out right now. I don't feel like talking to people right now." And I know it's because I'm like, I have shit to process. So you're probably never gonna see me like that because I'm not out and about. I'm in my house doing that.
I think that it does a disservice to say, I know what normal is in regards to processing grief,
I don't
because
think anybody knows.
everybody does it differently. So what I'm about to say is just my own process and my own thoughts on this. And especially with this guy asking me this, I've learned something over a few years, that emotions come from the same place, and that's all of them. And when we feel every single emotion, it makes the spectrum even greater for us. And what I mean by that is, when we're able to feel grief, when we're able to feel sadness and dive into that and create a space and give it a part of us in that process, we don't suppress and hold it back. We then get to experience the opposite side of the spectrum, joy. And when you see me continue forward, I don't and then the reason why I'm saying normal is because we do have young children, and it's not easy to, it's not always easy to move forward and be active with them and doing the things that they want to do, but it does help
Yeah.
to
I
be
mean,
able to.
I will say we have definitely, I feel like we have like turned down our tempo in a sense, but it's almost like this push pull where they're like, no, full throttle forward, let's go. So
But part of where I'm going with this is, with the darkness, with the sadness, with the depression, for people that are experiencing that, the way out of it is to do things that we love. We love, you love the person that you are, the things that you like to do. And if you were able to reframe it of, okay, what did that person, and I'm taking this from a friend, Danny Leslie, he said, what does that person that passed love about you? We'll do more of that because it honors them, and they're no longer here. And so we talked about control on a couple podcasts. Focus on what you can control. Can you focus? Can you control what happened? Can I control that I lost my son? Can I control that he had a congenital heart defect that wasn't fixable. Like, can I control that? No, I can't. But what I can control is how I continue forward and showing up for myself, for my family, for my wife, for my purpose, like things of that nature. And now the steps that I move forward, I take forward, I tie Liam into that and I honor him. So for me, when I am experiencing this joy, like getting to see my daughter surf skate in a bowl like I never thought I would be able to, or playing soccer with other kids, or for me shooting basketball or podcasting or speaking on a stage, that came from the hardest times in the sense of losing Liam and sitting with that and realizing that if I was going to push forward, if I was going to continue forward after his loss, it was by doing things that I love. And the more things that we love, the more positivity that comes. We start to fill our cups. There's a philosophy, it's called positive psychology. You focus on the things you do well and you do more of them, and more joy comes up. So I wanted to just say that because a lot of people, they say, oh, well, you lost a loved one. You must be sad and depressed. And once again, it flows, it ebbs and flows. You're not always going to be sad. But something that helped me, and it just came to my mind, there it was. I listened to a book a couple days after. It's called The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And he says that our ego holds on to the situations that we experience in our life. And so when I look about my own thing is, my ego is holding on to the fact that my son died. And so when I hold on to that and I don't want to let go, if you think about your thought processes, thought process that brings emotion, you're either in the future or the past. You're never in the present moment. So when you're able to come back to the present moment, you realize pain is an illusion, because what you were just, the emotions that you were thinking were from the past or something from the future. And that's what was making you cry and be sad and be
Yeah.
upset, whatever the case may be. But when you bring it to the moment that you're in, you're fine. Nothing is going on. Like, you're safe. And that's what I've been sitting with is when things get tough, I feel them, I cry, but there's a point where I realize, okay, let me bring it back. I've given it a big space. I've cried. I'm watching the videos. I'm seeing him. I miss him dearly. It's like I feel it coming up now. And then there's a point where I'm like, okay, how are you doing right now? And when I come back to my space, I'm like, okay, I'm fine. Now let me honor him, or for you that's listening, that person, by moving forward. You're the gatekeeper of their memories. Share, process, be the best version of yourself that you can be. But don't let that process of being the best version of yourself create a disconnection with feeling, which I could go into as well. But I'll save that for another time.
No, I was also going to say, I think what's helped me throughout this entire process too, where it comes to like feeling that super deep sadness versus being okay with the way everything turned out, was we've talked about it before, the book Your Soul's Plan by Robert Schwartz. And I read that book back in 21. It was recommended to me was after we found out about Linabelle having her brain tumor and, all the health issues she was going through. And at that point, like, I honestly didn't know. Like, I honestly, like, my thought process was like, one day she's gonna have a huge seizure and we're gonna lose her, or like her brain tumor is, you know, going to mess up her brain and whatever, and like we're gonna have a vegetable child. Like, I definitely went into depression. I was in a really bad, dark place after getting the diagnosis. The kids were all little. Like, Lumi wasn't even 1 yet when we found out. So they were like, the kids were 1. It was or Lumi wasn't even 1. She was like 9 months. Linabelle's 2. Boys are 4 and 6. And I'm at home, by myself. He's working full time. And I just like lost it. I was like, what the heck am I gonna do? with this whole situation. And then I read that book, and that book really just gave me like the fortitude, the inner belief, and the strength to push on. That it made me realize, like, basically I wasn't being given something that I wouldn't be able to handle. And we're not religious people, but a lot of this is said, like people are like, God's never going to give you, something you can't carry, or like a struggle that you can't overcome. And it's kind of with the same thought process of like, we're never going to be given something that we cannot handle and that we cannot process, even though at that time it may feel that way. Um, so after like a month of me feeling that, I was just like, okay, just say like, snap the fuck out of it. Like, what is that we need to do? What are we gonna do to move forward, to move through this, to move past this? Like, what is it that we have to do?
And I think we both agree here that there is a form of faith involved
Yeah.
in this process. I'm not going to tell you what faith you need to believe in or what religion you need to believe in, but there has to be some type of belief of there's something greater than,
Yes, yes.
and
So
there's a
like
reason.
so like with Liam, with all this that happened, I went back to that book, like, and the belief of this this was exactly the way it was meant to happen. And he didn't choose me so I could break down and suffer. He chose me because I could handle it, and he knew that I was the right person for the job. So when I switch it in my mind like that, I just feel happiness because I was able to give him exactly what he needed for this life. And I was like, you chose me for a reason. And based on the way he lived his life, I was like, I don't think we, like, it was just perfect. Like,
Yeah.
in my own opinion, I think he had the perfect life. So, like, I don't think that it could have gone any better. I don't regret anything or any decisions that we made with him and the way he lived his life. Because, like we said earlier, there really was no saving him out of his health condition. Like, there was nothing that we would have done. At no point could have been intervention to save him. So I am I have no regrets when I think about it that way. And yes, like I said, the sadness of missing a child and all that comes up, but I don't feel any regret as far as like the entire situation, the way everything went down. And from my understanding of, we all pick our trials, our people, our lives that we're going to live to a certain extent. And this was part of what I chose.
And I would say that this is not spiritual bypassing in any means, in the regards of we're like, oh, God or a higher self or whatever the case may be is going to handle my problems. It's more of like, okay, instead of being a victim to what's going on, we're open and saying, okay, what is this here to teach me? And being open to what feedback comes and what thoughts come, and sitting with ourselves and understanding it all. And like Giselle and I have talked about in other podcasts, especially with all like how we chose to bring our children into this universe in regards to birthing, and then also how we raise our kids, we take 100% responsibility with the choices that we make. So when you say, I have no regrets, and then when we go back and the doctors talk to us about everything that was going on and the life that Liam had, I say that he chose freedom. He chose us to be able to be free in this world. And I don't necessarily think I can logically break that down to anybody that's listening to this, and this, if you know everything, but with Liam, but it's just like, we didn't know anything that was going on with Liam.
The alternative would have been he would have been in a hospital till he passed away.
So we were traveling the world, we were experiencing, he didn't show any he didn't show any sickness signs, and he lived a joyous life until his last day. All right. Like the day before he passed out, he was playing on the floor with his brothers and his mom and us and having a good time. And it's there's a little, I say there's a little peace, but when you look at how his life was, it makes it a little easier for me to swallow because compared to if he was sick all the time and he was in pain and there's a lot of sadness. But
Yeah.
it's just nothing but love. Like he experienced nothing but love. And I I've spoke on this on many podcasts, but for myself, I had a different type of connection with Liam than I did any other kid. And so it just feels there is pain in that and sadness in that, but at the same time, there's also joy that I was able to have that type of connection with him in his short life. And
And I think these big moments in life are really mirrors and reflections for ourselves of, what is possible and what else can we do. Like, and don't get me wrong, like I spent many months after his death where I even told myself, like, I don't want to take on any projects or do anything for the next year. Like I just want to like unravel myself through this without having to push myself to do anything else. And at least for myself, I very much have been doing that. Like there was all these projects I was working on and things that I was like, oh, I'm gonna work on this. And I just reached this point of like I felt like I hit a wall and I was like, you know what, I don't want to do any of this. Like I don't, and I was just being, and I'm not one to watch like trash TV, reality TV, or I spent a few weeks where that's all I was doing. I was just fucking binge watching trash TV programs and shows because I was numbing myself. I was like, I just need to be numb to all of this stuff. And I don't really want to have to think outside of, yeah, I'm taking care of my kids, but like outside of that. And slowly I have felt like I've come out of that now. And I'm back in this place of like, okay, like life is still continuing, life is still going on. And I'm ready for the next level.
everything is temporary and nothing is forever. And I say that in regards to life too. And as hard as that is to say, you you can't control what happens tomorrow or in the next hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And that's where it comes back to just trying to, as much as possible, living in the present moment, being is present with yourself and those around you and doing things that you love, not holding back on things that maybe you're waiting to take that trip or make that phone call or whatever the case may be. Nothing's guaranteed, and that's what Liam's life showed us, is that in that short time, we spent a lot of time with him, and there was times where we were really present with him, and we were able to enjoy our family time and experience and travel the world. And one thing I like about what Giselle said, and it's okay not to busy ourselves in this process, because if we do have these projects going on, and I have been guilty with this, and I pulled back a little bit in the past few months of this. When we get so caught up, sometimes we forget to keep the space open to process what's going on.
Yeah.
And even healthy outlets are coping mechanisms if we don't have awareness around them. So
Yeah.
it's just being able to understand when we're doing what and for what reason.
Yeah, for me, I was just like, I went down to the bare minimum of like, I'm just going to go to the gym every day. And I'm going to surf and I'm taking care of my family. And I was like, those are my only priorities. Those are the only things I have to do. Like outside of that, I'm not doing it. Like the kids were in no activities or doing anything where I had to drive them or take them for the first few months that we lived here because I didn't want any commitments. I was like, I don't want no time commitments where I have to run somewhere and I have to take this kid or I have to socialize and do the small talk with people and this and that. Say I don't feel like doing that. And I gave myself a few months of just that. And then, slowly I was like, by the summer, I was feeling a little bit better. Also, a lot of people are gone. So it feels a little more chill around here. Like there's not so many people around. And I started putting the kids in like one activity a week. And I was like, okay, we can go to like this one activity a week. And then, and now like life is starting to speed up again. Like we're starting to pick up the pace. And once again, like for me, like having kids, that's my reason to continue to live, to not be sad all the time, to show them and model that life continues, and as much as death hurts and it's painful to lose someone in your life, to also honor it as another cycle of life. in every winter, the leaves fall, the trees look like they die, and then spring comes around and everything starts blooming again. It's seasons of life, just like there's seasons in nature. And I want my kids to understand that just like the tree stays steady and knows that spring's coming back around, like it's the same with us. We have to be well rooted and know that it's just a season. It is temporary and that things will be sunny again and warm.
You said you have this saying, I don't know exactly what it is. I know I've messed it up in the past, so that's why I'm not gonna say it. But it's like in a room full of loss, that doesn't click your mind.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't even
All right, I'll just
I
say
know that.
I probably messed it. I'm messing it up, and that's totally fine. It's meant to come out how it is. But after Liam passed, Giselle, so one of our anchor points, a physical anchor point, is these rocks that we have that we at Liam's celebration of life. We
I
had
think it was something like the love is the loudest in a room full of loss or something
right.
like that.
So love is the loudest in a room full
That's
of.
not exactly what it said, but something along
Okay,
those
well, I'll tell
lines.
you what I was gonna say because it's
Okay.
definitely not what I was gonna say.
Okay.
In a room full of loss, love transcends all. That's what I was gonna say. I know that's not exactly what it is,
I
but
did not use the word transcend. I know that. But yes, it's something along that.
where I'm going with this is going back to our main theme here of death means you have to be sad and depressed all the time. If you think about being in a room full of loss, everybody shares what they
Love.
love about that person, or they come together because of the love that they had for that person.
Yeah.
And where I'm going with this is if you find yourself having joy and starting to feel again and enjoy processes and things that you're doing in life, don't feel guilty. It might try to creep in. Don't feel guilty because I guess I would say the duality of grief is joy, right? The other side of the spectrum is happiness, joy.
And like I like to tell people like spectrums isn't a straight line. It's a circle. So right where one ends, the other one begins. It's not this thing that you need to go through everything else. It's like they're so close. It's like this fine line that they share, and they're really a lot closer than we think. It's not on the other side, like way out there. And that's what we have to realize is we there's no way to know what joy feels like unless we are able to feel sadness. Like imagine if all we felt was joy and that's all we needed. But how do you know? What are you measuring it against? And that is the only reason we're able to know that we are happy and that we are joyful is because we've had the sad moments, because we've had those really down times. So appreciating the fact that we can live with all of it.
I just had this crazy thought. This might be really deep and it's deep for me, maybe not for you, but just the idea. Think about how, like, as people, we're conditioned by what we're like, how we respond to things we see our fathers, our mothers, people around us. And in the book, The Power of Now, they talk about, and we'll use death in this instance, but what if death is not bad nor good?
Yeah.
It just is.
Yeah.
And being able to rewrite your
I
relationship.
mean, death is just a thing. We are the ones who put the labels of bad and good on it. Because if you think about like nature or animals or it, and I'm not saying that no animals, because I've heard of like elements or elephants like grieving dead ones for a long time, and even like whales like carrying around the carcasses of their dead babies for days or weeks before they finally let it go. So like there are other animals on earth who experience some type of spectrum similar to us humans. But at the end of the day, it's all part of nature, all of it. Like it's just the way the world works.
We're just curious at this point. Just getting curious.
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that he's always going to be around us energetically, spiritually, in one way or another. Like, we're always interconnected and nothing can really break that connection. And even like for us, like, we're not going to be here forever on earth. And we don't necessarily know what's on the other side. But
What if that was Liam today at the pool that was just giving you a hug, saying, "Hey,
yeah,
I'm there."
yeah,
And that's what you were feeling. What
yeah,
if all these emotional surges that we have when we feel them, it's our loved one that's just, they're giving us this embrace. We can't see it, but that's the sensations that we're feeling.
yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe. I was like, I'll tell you what, it was random because I was not thinking about anything related to him, or like I was actually thinking about everything we were talking about in the last podcast. And then like I just had this like thought just like boop, like hop on in there, and I was like, whoa, where are we going with this? Um but yeah, it happens. I definitely don't see as much signs as you do, like physical signs. For me, I just sometimes I have these overwhelming feelings at random times. Um, Thankfully, mostly at home, but there's been a couple who've caught me in public, and yeah, just kind of try to hide somewhere.
Just slow it down.
Yeah, slow it down, hold it in for later. I'm like, we're not doing this right now.
We'd love, we've garnered some beautiful comments and some interesting comments on our podcast. So feel free to let us know your thoughts on this topic. And we are people that respect opinions, and we'll see it. To agree to disagree where we're at, or with whatever is set. So hope you enjoyed this. And if you know someone that has lost someone, or is going, or is grieving at this moment, is going through a challenging time, please send them this podcast, because I know in my own process and Giselle's process, pouring more into my cup has helped me navigate this challenging time.
Thank you. Until next time.